Okay, well, you stand up here, and first of all, winning is hard. Half of college football has lost, and when you've been in it as long as I have, every win is a great win. I don't think I've been in anything quite like that. I can't say enough about Corey Rucker. I thought he willed this team to win. I thought he competed, and I think that's a mark of a great player, is taking over a game, and I thought he was able to take over the game. The one question mark I had on this football team was our emotional toughness. I didn't really know our resolve, our resiliency, and I think I found out a little bit more about this football team. And I would argue that that's probably one of the top 2 or 3 greatest comebacks in Arkansas State history. And I think when you look at it, of all the emotional ups and downs and turns and twists, and you're playing a game that everybody expects you to win, and that's a quality opponent now. You're not going to find a person who has more respect for their head football coach, their staff, and their players than me. I know their program pretty well, and they can play with anybody in FCS, and I said it on the teleconference call that they're very similar to a Sun Belt football team. I really believe that. So we got to win against a quality opponent. But, so many things that we need to improve upon. You asked about the slow start. We actually got off to a fast start. The problem was red area. We had 3 opportunities in the red area. We had to kick 2 field goals. And I can't say enough about Clune Van Andel. I thought he stepped up for us and made some big kicks for us. But getting back to the red area, we have 3 trips and we have 2 field goals, and we go for it on 4th and 2 and we don't get it. And, football is a game of momentum. And so I knew it was going to be this type of game when I thought the first quarter and a half we dominated, and you look up at the scoreboard and it's 6-0. And they're hanging around, and against a quality team like that, you can't do that. I didn't think we made contested catches early. So I think that part of it, I think our offensive line needs to take great strides in moving forward. At one point in the game, we were down 4 out of our 5 starting offensive linemen. So you're right, I don't think we would have won this game last year. We had to play a true freshman at left tackle, and David Walker kind of baptized him a little bit. Tristan Smith had to go in. I thought he gave us some real quality reps. Tobias Braun had to play. You're down 2 all-conference football players up front, McKeelan Thomas and Jacob Bear. And there ain't a lot of teams that probably could overcome that. We found a way to overcome that. So there's a lot of probably untold storylines that people probably don't realize that showed you the fight with this football team. But make no mistake about it, you mentioned Tulsa. Again, I have a lot of respect for Kevin Wilson. They're going to be an up-tempo team, and they're physical. And I didn't like our physicality overall as a team. We got to be able to run the football, obviously stop the run. This is the first time in my career where we've won a game and we didn't win the double positive. We lost the explosive play battle. We didn't take the ball away on defense or special teams, and we turned the ball over twice. You're not going to win very many games that way. So our players are excited about the win. Like I said, it's hard to win. The main goal is to be 1-0. We're 1-0. However, they know that there's a lot of things that we have to do to improve on and get better at. I think the other thing, too, and then I'll pause and open it up for questions. I want to thank our community, our fans, from the Red Wolf Walk to just the over energy. We wanted to give them their money's worth, so we wanted to make them stay as long as they could. I thought our student section was outstanding, and there's a lot of great community friends and leaders that are really trying to turn Centennial Bank into a community event. And, I put a lot of pressure on myself because I want our fan base to keep coming back. I want our student body to keep coming back. I want them to give them something that they can be proud of, and this is something that they can be proud of. But I just want to say thank you, because that's the best environment since I've been here, and much appreciated.
All right, guys, we'll take questions. Charles, go ahead.
Coach, talk about what you saw
Well, it was really hard. I was trying to keep the huddle ready for the next play because if it was ruled incomplete, there was 3 seconds left in the game. So I wanted our players focusing on the next play call that we were going to run. And, everyone, obviously, you are right, it was bizarre. Both sidelines are kind of out on the field. Everyone's staring. And I will tell you this, our TV broadcast crew right here at Arkansas State made a difference. The angles that they had, the video camera crew, that's something they should be really proud of because you guys did an outstanding job. And without those camera angles, and without those views, they're not able to use the instant replay. So thank you, thank you, thank you. But, you're sitting there and you're trying to focus on the task at hand of getting them focused on the next play, but you can't help. And usually the official I was with will usually tell you, and he didn't even know. So we're very blessed, very fortunate, resolve, resiliency, and a lot to work on to improve.
That play, the review was taking longer and longer and longer. What were you thinking at that time?
Well, they told me, they kept saying, we want to get it right. We want to get it right. We want to get it right. And it did. It seemed like an eternity. But my mind was focusing on the right play call, making sure our players were dialed in, that, you talk about the emotional twists and turns. If it's ruled incomplete, we got to snap and clear, and now the game's on the line on the final play. And so I was really trying to focus more on that and can control the things that we can control. But you can't help but get caught up with looking at the Jumbotron as well.
Whitworth, just staying on that, went to him on 4th and 4, and he needed it, and then obviously the game winner. So, just talk about the trust that you have. Is that more just Jalen going to him, or is that, you guys dialing those up for him?
Absolutely trust him. He's a great competitor. He had some big catches throughout the course of the game, a lot of third down catches. But, we have to be better in making the routine plays routinely, and that's kind of been our Achilles heel all training camp. You've heard me say it. And, great learning. The game's over with. We run an RPO with the slant, and he's wide open, and to me it's probably going to be an explosive play, and we skim the ball in the dirt. To be the team that we want to play, we need to make those routine plays. And I think Jalen will be the first to tell you, Jalen didn't play his best football. You got to make the routine plays. And we have a receiver that's got 3 steps on the defender on deep balls. You got to get him the ball. All those things that we can correct and get better, and Jalen will. Our protection, it doesn't matter who's in the offensive line or who's in, the standard and expectations don't change. The names on the back of the jersey may, but the expectations don't change. Same thing on defense. When Justin Parks went out, we really struggled with the next man in. And there's an onus on that. And there's an onus, there's an accountability, and we can't give up explosive plays like that. You can't. To be the team that we want to be, you have to play consistent. And you can't have, I think we gave up 7 plays for 246 yards. You can't do that. You can't do that to be the team that you want to. And so you have to go back, and our players know, but we got to coach them up. We got to put them in positions to succeed. But it's great to be able to make those corrections being 1-0. This was a must-win, and we got the win.
Coach, Jalen Rader looked like he was struggling with his accuracy all night. At the very end, he trusted him to throw a fade corner. What does that say about your trust in the quarterback?
Belief and trust. Jalen's a gamer, and Jalen needed this. The mark of great quarterbacks are the ability to lead their teams from behind in a 2-minute drill. And so, for him to be able to do that, I think it speaks volumes. He did a good job on a couple checkdowns of getting the ball to Jaquez Cross. We call it catch, tuck, turn. He got the ball vertical. All those things. We were able to have 3 timeouts at the end of the game. All those things that are vital. So we practice those situations. It's like what Corey said. It's really almost verbatim of our mock game against our number 2 defense. We had almost the exact same scenario. We had to go 90 yards in 50 seconds with 1 timeout, and we did it. And it's amazing how, I think a lot of times when you have this type of stuff, for your belief system, for your beliefs, I think it really helps you.
You had that possession where you had a chance to run the clock out and turn the football over on the fumble. They go down and they scored a go-ahead touchdown, and then here you come out, you got that opportunity you just mentioned. What was your message to your team, and what was their mindset in that final huddle?
Good question. All those moments are surreal because I was evaluating everything. There was no panic on anybody. There was no panic. They had been in that situation throughout the course of training camp and practice. And there was a mindset that we had done it before and we were going to go do it. I thought our confidence was very high, but there wasn't any panic. There wasn't any poor me's. There wasn't anything like that. We knew we had to get the job done and we had to find a way. And I think, again, you go back and you kind of replay the last 50 seconds. It's pretty remarkable.
Can you talk about just how Walker and Powell were able to kind of change the game in the second half?
Yeah, we went to a true freshman offensive tackle, and he's going to be a really good player for us. We tried chipping him. We tried doing a lot of things, but there's only so much you can do. And then, they did a good job of dropping 8 at times. So then when you're chipping a tight end and all that, he's kind of a chuck release now. So it kind of limits your options from a progression standpoint. But we knew David Walker could wreck the game at any point in time. I thought their front controlled most of the game. I'll know a little bit more when I watch the video of what we need to do to move forward. But when you can't run the football, when you can't get any momentum, we wanted to, again, play with tempo. We wanted to make conditioning a factor. And I thought we were able to do that early, but we were never able to get into rhythm and routine. And then we talk about complementary football. When we gave up some big plays on defense, offensively, we had 3 and outs. And so, the whole momentum and the whole deal of the game, you're up 27-10 with 14 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Our teams finished teams off. And these are all things that it's great because our players will understand on Monday when they come back to work. Everything will be very detailed and laid out for them.
You got a new look defensive line tonight compared to last year. A couple new guys at defensive end, obviously Wayne Cole moving to the inside. I thought they made some good plays, had some tackles for loss. What was your evaluation?
I'll know a little bit more when I watch the video. We lost Contain a few times on the quarterback, and he's a good player. But the connection, the focus, I liked. And we always say first games are the games in the unknowns. You look around college football and you look what happens. And you never really know how your team's going to respond. You really never know what you're going to get from the opponent. It's first game. You look at the NFL, it takes them, 3 exhibition games to try to get it right. So every practice, everything is vital. But, I think it's a good starting point. We're learning more about them when you look at it. There wasn't anybody who suited up at the defensive end position that's ever played a down of football here. So you're kind of waiting to see what you got. I thought early on Nate Marty and Tim Hardiman did some good things in the interior front. But we need more depth. We need more people to step up at that position as well.
Coach, how soon do you feel like you'll get Bayer and Thomas back?
Yeah, we fully anticipate having Jacob back this coming week. We'll know a little bit more about McKeelan if we get him back, And, you're talking about 2 really, really quality football players, all conference players, leaders of the room. But it's also new opportunities. I thought Mason Myers, redshirt freshman, playing center for the first time. I thought he did some good things. His snap location, all those things. I thought he handled the moment pretty good. You look at it, you look at individuals that were playing in the O-line for the first time, they were all brand new in that 2-minute drive with 50 seconds. Those are all things that I have to look at as a coach is, okay, well, look at, we go down and we win a game, and we know they have a really good defensive front, and it's all new offensive linemen. And again, nobody panicked. That's the thing. I think what we experienced here is really pretty remarkable.
You mentioned Clune a little bit earlier. I know earlier in the week you mentioned that might have been a kind of a game time decision on what you was going to do there. How did didn't think he did tonight, well, you already answered that, but moving forward is.
Yeah,
he a good guy?
He is, and he's earned that right through practice. We chart everything, and it's his job to lose now. But I was really proud of him. I thought he had poise. We got to do a better job, and Ryan knows that with our kickoffs. They're too short. Anytime you're kicking the ball to the 10-yard line, that's going to kind of put your kickoff coverage kind of in harm's way a little bit. So we got to do a better job there. We got to correct the long kickoff return we gave up. I didn't like the way we started the second half. I thought we were too casual. I didn't like the way we took the field, and I think that's a great teach point. Again, a lot of great teach points. And then we come out and we started slow, and they have the big kickoff return. Then they start throwing the ball, and boom, they score right away, and they have the momentum. Then we have to go try to regain the momentum offensively, and we have a 3-and-out. These are all things of playing 4 quarters of football, but, you know, all the little storylines of conditioning the mind, you know, we talk about we play to a standard, we never play to a scoreboard. The scoreboard is turned off in our mind. The only time we look up at the scoreboard is when there's no time left on the clock. And we talk about that all the time. Why would you let a scoreboard dictate the way you play? And so it's kind of been ingrained with our players. So when you ask kind of about the huddle and, you know, what was their mindset, their mental disposition, you know, they had been in that situation before.
Anything else for Coach, guys? All right, thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.